welcome to Obidate Family TV. The program now Hope Alive. Yes, hope day for everywhere for Nigeria. Too much suffering day, but with the hope we say we get from our Peter Obi, with the hope say this judgment will go come, it will come well, and every Nigeria will have everything to smile. As on I know, many people they ask question before say why Peter Obi never talk since about wetin dey happen for Niger Republic. Dem talk say the things wey be say dey happen for north, say im no dey talk again, but una see as he take talk am yesterday. Only one talk wey be say Peter Obi talk. Even the military junta wey be say dem dey for Niger Republic, they even agree to dialogue. That's why they ask the question. Now, who be your president? Who be that person who be say, you trust say, na him be your president? Because even the person who be say, if they declare say won't go war and the likes, plenty talks done there inside. But somebody will be saying, na the person will be say, then there's still a mandate. It just stays since, no talk. People begin to ask, why you no one talk? Now, just yesterday in talk, and at that yesterday, the people where they talk say they no go listen to Tinubu, then can't change their mind, say they go do dialogue. We get plenty things, so we say we go discuss this time. And that very discussion go even go as far as the allegation what we say they go around now, say Tinubu don't they plan to declare state of emergency, sake of say the same Niger Republic, say anyway, make I just introduce the people who be saying they follow me do this program today, because we get plenty people in the house. We get Angel for house, we get Esther, we get Princess, plus we get our latest analyst where we say now you see Maxwell. Una welcome to the studio.
Yes, so good day, my well-meaning Nigeria and my lovely and intelligent, obedient worldwide. Happy New Week. Welcome. Tell your neighbor, say, hope day. Our PO is coming. You see this promised land? We are getting there. Call your neighbor. Come on board. Let's discuss.
Welcome, my wonderful obedient family worldwide. Now, welcome to the show, Hope Alive. We get plenty things we'll talk about today. Welcome. Come on board. Let's discuss.
Welcome to Hope Alive.
That's it. Then we get our own legal analyst where we say go follow us. We go dissect and review the Supreme Court case where we say in our Deleke and the Yotola, and we get some very important reviews. I make regulations and all of that. If they join us for soon, you see Maxwell. When I feel know for Twitter, now real obedient where we say if they talk him as he take be. Maxwell, I beg greet our people, make we not they go.
All right. Good afternoon to everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for having me on the platform. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm happy to see you joining for this conversation today.
Okay, good. With that very one, we'll start, make we go because times they give signal all the time. Make we go straight to wetin be the one wey we say don dey comot wey dem dey reveal. Dem talk say wetin dem dey call am their present select don begin dey find issues around how im go take legitimize his government, and this very Niger Republic issue be like say na im dey dominate everywhere. And some people they talk say na allegation, some people they talk say whether not true or not, but then they talk say won't use Niger when one invade to declare state of emergency for Nigeria, thereby obstructing the judgment we say they come out from this very tribunal, or to throw that chaos and anarchy where them talk. But that one, as we read that thing and we hear the thing as they take the come out, we talk say in as much as PDP where they talk and we and them get the same understanding say this election they rigged, but we to an extent no say Tinubu, no matter how you try, he no go fit pull that one off because of say the tribunal justices then they do their this and then go declare them. by mid of next month they must give their judgment, and that one na for where we dey. So any plans wey be say dem talk say whether na waste o abi dem talk say dem dey give pressure due to FBI file, all that one wey dem dey talk na for their own, but we don know say our mandate go come back. Make I start with Angel wey be say e dey for studio with me before I go check for other side. You see how the thing dey take dey happen, all the talk wey be say dey go on with PDP spokesman wey talk say Tinubu don dey plan to put state of emergency and all that. Wetin you think quickly?
Yes, so the thing is a distraction to us. He wan use that Niger problem comot our mind from our judgment, which is not possible, because we the obedient, we need our mandate back. Now the thing where we dey tell judges, that one na dey us important, because even the Senate wey in write to, they don't tell and say we no need that war, no send our soldiers go there, because we don't even see any war there. The people wey be Niger people, they love what the army is doing even more than the civilian government where they get. So why is he bothering him?
Okay.
Why they bother him and APC?
Yeah. Okay. Before we come back to studio between Esther and Princess, make we take a look for waiting UC Maxwell wey dey for Zoom get to tell us about wetin him think about this waiting PDP. They talk say Tinubu don dey plan to do waiting wey be say we no wan make it happen. So UC Maxwell, how you think about this very thing where dem talk say Tinubu get plans?
The thing wey dey there be say, you know, say after this election, plenty people carry the matter go court. One of the people is Peter Obi. We have Atiku Abubakar and the PDP. We also have the APM. We carry the matter go court. So anything will happen for this entire court process will affect these three people, even the Tinubu himself we carry go court. So the issues are that PDP is accusing Tinubu of a deliberate attempt, an intentional attempt to go to war. The reason is very simple. Now, when you look at section 305 of the 1999 Constitution, it allows the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to order a state of emergency in Nigeria where we are under war. So, in such instance where they order state of emergency for Nigeria, so many things will be limited. For instance, for such period, it may possible say election no fit hold. So, even if the court say no, we do rerun election, if it possible say because of the state of emergency, they no go hold the rerun. So that is why PDP don't come out. They accuse Tinubu say wetin they try to do be very intentional, because he don't perceive, he don't see as things they go for court, because everybody has been to the court, everybody know how the case has been going in the court, and they are of the firm belief, PDP, that the case will not go the way of Tinubu. So they feel that he is deliberately trying to go to war so that they can declare a state of emergency or make sure that Nigeria is no longer peaceful, so that we will not be able to change Tinubu from the seats there. So, but this one, awaiting PDP, they talk. We will support Peter Obi and then the Peter Obi mandate and as obedience. Our views also they different. We get different views where we don't also talk as it relates to this Niger matter, because we also do not support the ideologies of going to war as it affects Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you, UC, for that very one. So with that one, we'll begin to go to waiting. One make you explain to us as a legal analyst about different laws where we say especially the latest Supreme Court pronouncement where we say it go even play major role for waiting to happen. So our people will go from that very discussion will be the insinuations of the public that APC is only desperate to deploy Nigerian military to Niger Republic so as to provoke possible external aggression from that country, thereby orchestrating a situation for the declaration of state of emergency in Nigeria. So with that very one, we will go to the major thing, because one of the reasons we say they bring in volunteers of obedience, they bring in young lawyers and legal analysts will be saying that obedient to do research, so that this judgment what we dey expect when they come out from the election tribunal, we go dissect am well, we go review am, no be just for sentiment's sake, and no be saying that because of say we like P2B, but because we want the justice to be done, not seem to be done, but that justice would have been done. So we don't put around call. So Maxwell, now one of the people who say them volunteer for Obidati Family TV to analyze the thing, they research, they put all his time, and we get plenty others. So we say them go they join us from now going on, so that all Obidati Family TV members and obedience worldwide go they hear how this law applies, the facts where we get before the court, and the expectations where we get from the court. So you see, Maxwell, let's start with this particular Oyetola versus Adeleke, because I saw that there is a very likelihood that that very judgment will play an integral part of what the tribunal is going to bring out as their judgment. They are going to look at it because it seems that that is the latest that has to do with INEC guidelines and how elections are supposed to be, processes are supposed to be dealt with. So can you please take us through this very process, at least from the fact finding and this thing that you have done, the review that you have done?
All right, thank you very much. Now, you see, one of the things that affects our legal system are previous cases of the court. So where the court has given judgment before, where these cases where they have given judgments have a relationship with the current case, the courts have to stand by the previous judgment that they've given. Now, in law, these things are called stare decisis. That is, you must stand by the previous decision. So we have a previous decision that relates to elections in Nigeria. And one of those decisions is the case of Oyetola versus Adeleke, the PDP, and INEC, who were respondents or who be the people where Oyetola carry go court for that matter. Now, if you go court during the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, during the PDP case, the APM case, the Labour Party case where Peter Obi dey involved, one of the judgments that was always mentioned is the Oyetola's case. It is because of two things. Number one is that it has a lot of relationship with the current case at hand. Number two is that it is a Supreme Court judgment. Where the Supreme Court has given a judgment, every other court in Nigeria must stand by that judgment of the Supreme Court. One of the things that is very instrumental in that case is that the court held particularly that there are two systems of upload. The court recognized the place of upload of results. The court held that you can upload to IREV and you can also upload to what is known as a collation system. Because these things needs to be emphasized. We're supposed to be talk about this thing every time. Say, not be only one place they supposed upload the result, go. Not be waiting the law talk be that. And not be waiting the court for Oyetola case talk be that. The court talk say you supposed upload go IREV, number one. Number two, they say you supposed upload go collation system. So IREV na the one where people, me and you will go vote. See they look, they follow the election result. While collation system na the back end for where INEC dey, where INEC fit take use the verify result. One of the important things where they talk for that case, they say the IREV and the collation system, they upload to these two places is very important, and it is part of the election system, the election process. Why this thing be very instrumental, be say, why it be very important, be say, when we go court, Tinubu tell court say it no be part of the election process. Say election process they start and they end for polling units. Say after everything happen for polling units, the remaining now just to collect results and to announce the result. But for the Oyetola case, if you don't read that case, the court talks say that the IREV and the collation system play a very vital and important role in the election process. Meaning say for your polling units, upload be part of the process. So when you come polling units, they do accreditation. After accreditation, you vote. After voting, they collate, they count, that's sorting, they count. After counting, they write results. After writing results, it no go stop for there. They suppose use their BVAS machine where the law don't provide for the electoral acts and the regulations and guidelines. They go snap the results, upload them to the IRED and to the collation system at the same time before election process will stop for polling unit. So now waiting the court talk amongst other plenty things with the court talk. Another thing very quickly what I want to talk about be say the court also talk say say the upload no be to INEC register of voters. No, you're not supposed to upload from polling unit go INEC register of voters because no be the correct place with that. When you supposed to upload go now the IREV and the collation system. And the judgment is there in the public space. Anybody can access this judgment and go through it. So now waiting the court talk with that, and this case is very important as it affects the case really for tribunal today.
Thank you for that very one, because explain and well for some of our people they follow us, make them understand say one of the major issues where we say INEC must deal with, that is the law, is not just whether they like or not, as some people they think. It is a must that the law, as the law states it, say then go carry, then go snap this thing using their technological device, which they call beavers for this time, to send something to IREV, and another one then go transfer them or transmit them go collation center, and from there they can now manually collate it, which I believe what you are saying is that INEC did not do, right?
INEC did not do this, and the thing we say, when we went to the court, INEC did not deny. INEC agreed that, of course, they did not upload to the IRL and to the collation system. And as at the time when we did for court, they can't start to the upload. But even till today, they never upload all the results finished. So that is the current situation.
And that very one is integral, according by this very Oyetola versus Adeleke. It is integral, it follows on the process of election, correct?
Of course. The reason why I know elaborate, we say probably we will come to talk about it subsequently. But the point that is very vital for us to note is that
we will have, because of time, we will come back to it so that we can break it down to Obedience Worldwide to understand that very case is very, very crucial to the judgment that we are expecting, and that very soon as that judgment comes out, we'll be reviewing them and then weighing the facts we have, because each case has their own facts, as our own have. Is not the same thing with them, but the similarity has to do with INEC guideline. Now, talking about INEC guideline, Angel, I know you have a question you were telling me before about this INEC guideline, about how their processes work and all that. And me, no be legal analyst where I be, I tell you say we'll get to there. I make you ask them.
Yes, so my brother Maxwell, I beg, the implication of not uploading results in line with the electoral law or act, any implication, how it takes him?
now when you talk about implication, it means the effects, what it means when person fail to do something or when person do something. It also has a relationship with the Oyetola's case, because in the Oyetola's case, the court did not stop at looking at the electoral law, the Electoral Act of 2022 that was passed sometime in February 2022. The court went further to look at the provisions of the guidelines, the regulations and guidelines for the conduct of elections 2022, which was passed, I think, sometime in June, if I am correct, sometime in June of 2022. The court held that when a person has made a body of law, now, under the Electoral Act, INEC have the powers to make a law, to make a guideline, to make regulations. And they rightly did that. When you look at Section 60 of the Electoral Act, subsection 5 particularly, you look at Section 47 of the Electoral Act, and then you also look at Section 64, subsection 4. These provisions of the Electoral Act talks about the place of upload, and it also gives INEC the liberty to decide how they will carry out this upload. So they have to provide for the ways of carrying out this upload in their regulations and guidelines. So your question as to the implication is that INEC told us, they did not only tell us. Now, what they said in their regulation and guidelines is not a directive. It is a law that they must uphold. Where a body, where a commission has been permitted by law to make a regulation for itself, that same regulation has the same force of law, like even the law that gives it permission. For instance, if we have the Constitution, and the Constitution say, Obidati TV, you get to the power to make laws for yourself. If you, Obidati TV, can't come together now, Obidient TV, you can't make law for yourself. That law when you don't make, because you receive the permission from the Constitution, you must abide by the law. So INEC made the regulations and guidelines in line with the Electoral Act and the 1999 Constitution. So they cannot turn around and go back on it. So the implication is that by virtue of clause 38, clause 48 of that same regulations and guidelines, INEC has a duty. INEC is mandated. The word used in that place is shall. And in law, when shall is used in a law, it shows that it is mandatory. It is a law, and you cannot decide otherwise. So for INEC not to have kept with these provisions, going by these laws, of course, I'm not going to preempt what the court will do, going by the body of law, INEC has failed to uphold the law. INEC has failed to upload. The implication by the law is that it is a nullity. Any result that arises from it is void. It is there in these provisions, and it is clearly written, audible to the deaf and clear to the blind. So there is no need beating about it. So the implications are very clear. But when INEC fails to keep these regulations and guidelines, it is a nullity, any result that arises from it, by virtue of the law, of course. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate. I also get another question. The place of beavers in the election while waiting for the judgment. You know, say, as the INEC don't select their president, give Nigerians, they don't come out, they defend their nonsense election where they do. You understand? They come, they defend and say they get the right to do manual if they wish to. How it takes time while we are waiting for the judgment.
You see, the thing we say, where we did for this our democracy, that is why we see what we see. Some people don't change the terminology from democracy to them crazy. Say people are now running crazy in Nigeria. But you see, no legislation is enacted in vacuum. There is no law that is ever made that is made in vacuum. Ex nihilo mihi fit. It is a Latin term that says you cannot get something from nothing. So there is a reason for every law. So the next question to ask yourself is, what was the reason for the Electoral Act 2022? Because before the Electoral Act of 2022, we had the Electoral Act of 2010. And in the Electoral Act of 2010, there was no provision for beavers. So you need to look at the intention of the lawmakers when they were making the law, to know the reason for the law. That is why a legislation cannot operate in vacuum. It cannot arise in vacuum. So the intention was that there was too much manipulation of elections, that when results are written, when elections are done in polling units, the process of taking it from polling unit to collation centers, there is usually the possibility of manipulations, and this is where election is rigged. For further emphasis, we need to look at the provisions of paragraph 2.9.0 of the manuals of election that INEC released for their officials. In that place, they recognize that elections have always been rigged since the return to democracy in 1999. So what was the best way to solve it? It was to introduce beavers. Then what will beavers do? Beavers will help you to get the results at the collation center even before the hard copy gets there. So when you now look at section 64, subsection 4, we provide for you to check the correctness of a hard copy. You look at clause 38, you look at clause 48, you also look at section paragraph 2.9.0 that I just made emphasis upon. You will see that the essence of the beavers in this election is why even the Electoral Act of 2022 came into place. Remember that Lawan, the former Senate president, was asked that question, and he sat in the hallowed chambers of the Senate to tell us that the real intention was that the beavers was meant to snap the hard copy. After you snap the hard copy of the result, you will now upload it to those two places I told you about. I read for the public to view, for INEC to assess. Then you now go back to section 64, subsection 4. That place now says that before you will even announce any results, you must check the collation system to see what has been uploaded by the beavers. So when you look at what has been uploaded by the beavers on one hand, you look at the hard copy on another hand, you just oppose it. Is it correct? Is it okay? Is it in tandem before you announce the result? So the role of the beavers cannot be overemphasized. Once you fail to keep to these particular provisions that have been made by the Electoral Act, the regulations and guidelines, and the manuals for the conduct of elections of the officials, you have failed woefully in the conduct of a credible election. And that is the simple role of the beavers. The beavers was meant to accredit. Once you accredit, at the end of the day, you will collect physical ballot paper. So the beavers stop working at that point. After the beavers does the accreditation, it waits. The person will collect ballots. Made the Electoral Act of 2022. We would have simply stuck to the Electoral Act of 2010, because the Electoral Act of 2010 does not recognize beavers. So if you don't want to recognize what beavers is supposed to do by snapping and uploading, there's no need of the Electoral Act 2022. But this is just mischief that is calculated to deceive the people, to deceive the courts, to deceive the judicial system. Because I must say, be you however so high, you are under the law. These are the wordings of Thomas Fuller as far back as 1733. He said that no matter how high you are, no matter who you are, Yakubu Mahmoud, be you the chairman of INEC, no matter who you are, be you the legislature, be you the president, the law is above you. So no matter what you do, you will still come and fall under the law. And these things have, of course, been upheld by various decisions in our courts. So that is the true position of the beavers, and it can never be emphasized. We will continue to state it as it is.
So this your explanations.
It's sweet, my belly.
Yes, and no be small thing. But before we come back, you talk so many things. So we say it concern the election, the process, and all that. But it gets something where we say it just come to my mind when you they talk now. when we say Festus Kiyamo, when we say in don't begin, they show us how they take rig election. They talk say na Peter Obi rig election. But waiting I can discover say in the indirectly tell us how they take rig the election. But I go want make you watch and make you hear waiting him talk before we go enter, because I see say Princess and Esther get question where they want ask you concerning this very something where they will talk for studio. But make we listen to waiting he talk how in they show people how they take rig election when they talk say na Peter Obi na in rig election. Let's take a listen. We will come back now.
Handwriting. Fill all the from ECHAs in one complete word. One particular handwriting. What that means is that voting took place or did not take place, and they went to somebody's house to fill all the from ECHAs. One handwriting. Go and check. And these are people who are coming, you know, and pretend to be on the moral highway. In other cases, what happened was that in order to meet the requirement of beavers accrediting voters, they lined up the people, accredited them, and told them to go home. And then began to thumbprint for them to meet that number accredited. All LP and put them in the ballot box. That is just to tell you the kind of wicked machine that Peter Obi carried out in the Southeast. And so when you see him face the cameras with a straight face, pretend to break down to grab, and hoodwink, unfortunately, younger ones who don't know him, I don't know his history. I mean, we shudder at the level of the seats here. We shudder. And he brought that wicked machine into Lagos. Is to tell you that he did not even stop at the South. Go and see what results in Investor. We're not supposed to anymore. Because we are not taking time to look at the results one by one. So the long and short I want to announce to you, because I am part of the legal team that has been constituted by, we have constituted our legal team now as I speak with you. I'm part of that legal team, and we have even volunteers who are ready to defend our man, volunteers who are also senior advocates. And we are looking at the results. So I want to announce to the world that we are also going to be filing a cross petition to cancel the votes of Labour Party in virtually almost all the states in the Southeast.
So now see how this man will be saying a lie full in mouth as him take talk both for Anambra and Lagos. Now which person get power to even rig Tinubu out for Lagos? You go talk about rigging when maybe saying a correct meaning. Nothing we will never hear, but that's why they talk say na style where this man they expose in they show how they take rig this election. And for Lagos and for other places where we say they do their massive rigging. So in they tell us how that one take happen. And
Mr. Kanu, the issue be say they underestimated obedient movement. You know, say they say na 4 people tweeting in a room, and as that 25th come, every obedient come out massively. Even no be say they hide them. Even Lagos own they no even hide them. They just they count them one by one. You go to hear them 45, 400, 400. Where they call writer, where they call rigger. The thing surprise them. Now it be the thing. Instead of them to say, okay, we now know say Nigerians don't tire for their nonsense where they do, for the hardship, for the poverty way full everywhere. They make them come out say, oh yes, obedient voted. Because whether obedient voted, they voted. And I make we the obedient, they interested for this judgment.
Yes. NJ, don't put your point, and everybody don't see say that's the way you talk then line. But Esther be like say she get in question what we say one ask Maxwell, she don't they give signal since make you for tell Maxwell waiting, just give him the question where you want ask and make him for answer.
Okay, our legal analyst, I get this one where I want make you help explain to us where they inside studio and how to obedience where they outside there. My question be say, what is the legal effect of a law made by INEC that is in the regulation and guidelines? What, you get any legal effect? I'll make you explain to us.
Okay, so Maxwell, take over from there.
I answer that question. Make I just react to the first scam video. You see, now the problem we talk about this. I will just do this very quickly. The thing is, from this video, you go realize, say, they themselves recognize that there was a rigging process in this election. Exactly. So if there was a rigging process which affects the credibility of a process, are you not supposed to cancel it? If a rigging process affects something to the extent where we say result no conclude, because for courts, remember I said they tell us about is it 13,000 of their own votes, say they cancel them. Is it not enough? 13,000 is not enough for you to cancel the election? So it just goes to show that they recognize that they rigged the election. They're only looking for who to blame for the rigging that they did. So to your question, like I told you, yes, like I said earlier on, such guidelines have foundation in law. It has foundation in law. If the law gives you the leverage to make a law for yourself, anytime you make that law, you become bound by the law. It just be like what they happen for party politics. You know, say party constitution, no be National Assembly right now. Party constitution, no be State House of Assembly right now. Now party members sit down by themselves, write their constitution. But anytime when you get problem with the party, when you carry and go court, carry that party constitution, go court, the court go follow that constitution, because una don't sit down, agree, say una go dey bound by that constitution. That's why I talk that thing, why I talk by Dr. Thomas for 1733, say no matter how high you be, the law may pass you. No matter the point where you be, the law may pass you. So the place of the regulations and guidelines has the same effect like the Electoral Act and the Constitution. And because INEC passed it in June 2022 and they signed that document, they become bound by it. Finally, there is a principle for law which they call estoppel. Now big grammar, no be our grammar, no be our language it come from. Estoppel. They derive that word from the word stop. A stop, to stop person. That word for law means say when you don't tell person say you will do something like this, you not feel can't change them again, say you will do it like this. INEC tell us by their guidelines, they release letter, they go for Chatham House, they tell the whole world, say they go snap and they go upload. So the fact is that whether they even tell us for live television or not, as far as say they don't write them for inside that regulation and guideline, it has the force of law. It is not a directive and it is not left to their discretion. It not they left to their choice to do or not to do. As far as say they don't write them for their book, sign them, they must do it. So that is the effect of the regulations and guidelines, and they cannot change it. They can never change it. Even the court of law will stand by their regulations and guidelines. That is the position of the law.
Yes, so thank you very much. We get plenty of other things we say we won't look into. Like we don't say every time people they talk, say then they ask questions, say why P2B never talk for Niger Republic matter. But I see say what happened yesterday, P2B talk, and we be surprised, or I be we no suppose they surprised say after that talk when he talk by his post when he signed for X. Now we see say the military junta will say them the Niger Republic can't even begin they agree, they discuss with ECOWAS, say then go relax and do dialogue with them. So and all this while attention just there, but we see say people just do small tweet like that and they be like say God can't use the talk when we talk about dialogue, can't talk those people. Make we even look at the tweet. As in take talk and for that very tweet. I hope say you see him. You see the tweet, Maxwell.
Of course, I saw it and I responded to it also. I made several tweets to that effect.
Okay, you retweeted. What you find for that very in tweet as our own His Excellency P2B, where we the wait for the mandate. High intake as intake put what do you think? Because you know, say before that in talk, you get many people who be say then they talk and waiting when they talk no too sweet. They talk say P2B, they chook him mouth. For waiting the concern mouth again. When they talk saying they care about waiting they happen for the country, but we see how it talk and how the thing take happen. Because if we go back to other tweets where I know say people tweet, they talk say why no they talk again, you no care about the North. But we see say only that tweet when give it bring so many people they relieved. How you take think
You know, say if not by tweets, sincerely speaking, if not by tweets, we don't go know who be legitimate person and who not be legitimate person. Because we cannot keep judging people by whether he tweets or he did not tweet, whether he talk, he did not talk. Another angle to it is ask yourself this question: why people they wait make Peter Obi talk for every matter? Ask yourself, waiting make what they say when anything happen for Nigeria, people they wait to see whether Peter Obi don't talk or he never talk, whether he don't support or he never support. This just goes to tell you that he is a man that is accepted by the people, and they know that he is the true leader of the people. It doesn't change it. But back to waiting Peter Obi talk. Peter Obi advise ECOWAS say this thing no be wetin they use gra do. Niger is a sovereign nation. Niger can handle themselves by themselves. They have their independence. So you don't need to follow them with gragra. You don't need to do them by force, by fire. You need to use diplomacy. You need to use dialogue to talk to them so that you can have a proper, round table discussion and have a good outcome. Now, what Peter Obi advice be that? Peter Obi talk this thing around like 8 o'clock a.m. in the morning. I think about 27 minutes past 8 o'clock a.m. You know, around 3 o'clock that yesterday, now we see news say Niger don't decide to go to dialogue with ECOWAS. Don't take us back. For, I think, 3rd of August, 9 Tinubu sent delegates to Niger. May they go discuss. The Niger leader of the coup send all of them back. He said he was not going to have a conversation with them. It is because Tinubu was not diplomatic. He did not take the right measures. You don't threaten a country of war, of invasion, of military deployment before you now start thinking of diplomacy, of dialogue. It is not done anywhere. It is not an intelligent step to take. You understand? So that was the mistake that Tinubu made, which is one of the several mistakes that he has continued to make, of course. So threaten the Niger people by saying that he was going to invade or make military deployments through ECOWAS. But after we saw these things, they now saw reason to understand that diplomacy is the right step to take. And Peter Obi spoke and began to saw it. Maybe to Peter Obi, who has always spoken, who has always saw reason to lend his voice at the very important time. That's one thing that we must take cognizance of. Peter Obi knows the right timing to speak to issues. He knows when to comment, he knows when to criticize, and even when he's criticizing, he knows how to criticize. He knows when to give advice, even to an illegitimate government. So these are the things, are the character traits that we see with Peter Obi, which is worthy of a leader that should lead Nigeria. And of course, as we can see, they are ready to consider, diplomacy and dialogue. So kudos to everybody who put in efforts to see that this is achieved. Because indeed, Niger, to a certain extent, whatever happens, they also affect the Nigerian economy, our, our security, and every aspect of governance.
Yeah, thank you, UC Maxwell. Very nice. We like the way when you explain this thing because most of our people will be say then they now they watch all over the world, then go understand them from the way when you explain them. And make I even ask you, get one video where we see where we say somebody they talk as you they talk now, and the name come become Maxwell Okpara. But I don't know whether na your brother because the kind verse where you dey even verse now, so you dey verse for national TV. But make you foresee am first, make you know whether you relate with her. Una carry the same kind of blackness, you know that kind of thing. Let's take a listen to wetin him talk. The one wey he take talk, he say Tinubu no get the morality, get the kind grammar wey he talk to even talk about wetin dey happen for this Niger wey he dey talk. So now because of how you talk about Niger and Tinubu, so I say, I remember that video, make production, make them for put them, make you even listen to wetin this Maxwell Okpara take talk, because wetin he talk there now, na the kind thing where you dey talk now, make you hear as him take talk am.
So what we are saying is that, as we speak now, our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, lack the morality to talk about what is happening in Niger, because he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. You are disobeying court order using your agents. And how do you want the Nigerians to take you serious?
That one from Maxwell Okpara will be saying the verse for Arise TV, for national TV. Tinubu no get the moral justification to engage this very one wey he wan do for Niger Republic. And several things will be say a talk. So, and all this talk be say Tinubu no suppose engage those people because the government will be say in the operate here still there for shaky ground. And because everybody wait for the judgment. And the judgment, what would they expect? Now judgment will be say you go through and come out for office. Princess, I know say you, since you they talk, you won't talk, you won't chook your mouth for this matter. This one will be say, will they talk about this particular Tinubu and the people will be say Niger Republic, and people will they talk say it no get the moral justification to even start that kind of thing because in be legitimate government, you know, that kind of thing. So what do you get to add for that one?
Okay, so according to this topic, I feel like the reason why Tinubu is even insinuating a military action is because he's not a leader. He doesn't have the abilities of a leader, because as you can see yesterday when P2B, posted what he posted, the people of Niger just felt like someone could hear them, someone could hear their cry, and they reached out and like, okay, we want a diplomatic dialogue to actually settle our problems without any military action. But as you can see, Tinubu, that is not a leader, just opted out and said, let them just go and start cleaning. Despite the situation Nigeria is in already, disregarding it, he still, still wanted to go forth for military action, which is insensitive. And as you can see, P2B, as a sensitive and reasonable leader, opted up and said, okay, whatever that is going on right now, we should actually go through a diplomatic dialogue to settle the scores first before any other thing. And that is really recommendable. That's really recommendable of him.
Yes, well said, Princess. And with that very one, I think because our time don't they give us signal make we for carry our kaya come on for studio. But Obedience Worldwide, before we leave now, I go want to make on know say we they arrange this legal analyst like UC Maxwell would arrange, gallant and intelligent obedience will be said and they deal with the law, so that they will join us every day to discuss how why would they wait this judgment, so that by the time when we say the judgment go enter, whether it dey for good or it dey for bad, we will look at from the side of justice. We no go look at from the side where we say whether na our principle or not. Yes, we dey respect our mandate, but at the same time we will look and say justice must be done, because everybody they wait for Nigeria to change. And with that very one, I even see Maxwell, final thing for your side. I see what you post today for your this thing. I think today, yes. And what you post be say about our people make how we need to. I don't know whether producer you get that very tweet. But anyway, Maxwell, I give you the mic, make you for talk because you know what you tweet. I read them, but they talk say they no get them for their console, make them for display because we they display this thing. So with that, I make you for tell us what you talk about. The everybody go see how the judgment they come out and all of that. Very quickly, you get like 1 minute, make we for carry come out for studio.
Okay, I think you are referring to the NJC letter and all the saga that connects with it. I want to believe so. Now, you see, the problem we have in Nigeria is that we have chosen not to go through the right processes in doing things. So in Nigeria, we no longer know what is true or what is false. It's unfortunate that I saw that letter where the NJC or purported, allegedly released by the NJC and signed by the CJN, where it was purported that the CJN relinquished the authority to decide who is the most senior, jurist at the bar in terms of, appointing the chief judge, particularly in KB State. But, fantastically, they've come out to debunk that letter. Now, I would like to state categorically on this live video that letter had, we saw it on the letterhead of the NJC, and it was the name of the CDN that was on it and the signature, and they denied it. I responded to that letter, so I take back everything I said since they have denied the existence of that letter. But let us be frank with ourselves. We saw such a letter. The NJC did not release or did not even make their press release public enough for people to be well aware that this is not coming from them. I expect them to make these things as public as possible because the role of the judiciary is very important, very sacred and sacrosanct in the place of justice in our society. So they must be seen indeed to be just, fair and equitable. When such allegations are made against them, they need to come out as open as possible, make press release, press statements, and debunk. That statement was only made, it was called a disclaimer that was made on their website, which a lot of people may not even have access to, the same way they had access to that purported letter that was released by them. But it's good that they've come to deny it. But I call on all women Nigerians to set their eyes on the judiciary, the image on the judiciary, because when we revolt against injustice, it is very important that we keeping quiet about injustice in Nigeria. And the only time, and this will be my parting words, the only time that indeed, Chari, is for us to monitor the happenings in the court systems and know indeed if there was, justice coming out of the court systems or not. And that is why we've tried as much as possible to make everybody follow up on the happenings in the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal. Just like it was said in the case of Metropolitan Properties Limited versus Lannon, case in 1968. I want to read to you verbatim what the court said. The judge held in that case that justice must be rooted in confidences, and confidence is defeated when right-minded people go away thinking the judge was biased. So justice is rooted in confidence. And the justice system, the judiciary, must make the Nigerians have that full confidence. And if we walk away out of the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal thinking the judges were biased, then it becomes the lack of confidence and the lack of justice. So they must be seen. They must not only do justice, just like Lord Howard said in the case of Rex versus Sussex, that they must not only do justice, but they must be seen to do justice. And our eyes are all open on the judiciary. We want to see them do justice. Thank you very much.
Maxwell, thank you very much. Our time is up and we really have to pack our kaya studio. But we'll come again this evening because we get plenty other things. So we say we go discuss with obedience. And that very thing, we cannot even give hints for that one, but we get plenty other things we will discuss. But wherever on the obedience, make on the like and share this video so that they go pass it on to other people. Our job for this Obidati Family TV now make for give hope to all our members worldwide. Make you tell them about the facts wey be say e dey on ground, and when we dey expect the judgment of the election tribunal to come in, make we continue to get discussions wey be say e dey in line with those thoughts. That's why we dey put together different obedience wey be say dem be lawyers and legal analysts, make dem begin dey join us every day, make we for dey discuss the issues as before even comot from there. We go check all the laws wey be say e dey around INEC guidelines and the latest Supreme Court cases, and we go dey discuss am so that we go dissect am well. So with that one, we dey expect say in the next 3 hours we go dey with una again, make we for open up some certain things wey be say we go discuss. So until that very time, I go tell una bye bye for now, and I go just pass my go give Angel, make sure for take am from there.
My lovely and intelligent, obedient worldwide, our own person don talk and say, if you are coming to equity, come with a clean hands. Tinubu hands e no clean at all. Na im make you wan use Niger come distract us. As US and UK and France dey push am, wetin they no fit take for their own country, they dey push am make im go do. Because of waiting, their selfish interests. We no go condone am, we no want am. All eyes on the judiciary. Yes, all eyes on judiciary. My people, like. Subscribe. Tell your brother, share. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate you, we love you. Thank you, we appreciate you. Bye for now.